So, this is our statement. You'll be doing your own, of course. At 5:30 p.m. on the 3rd of November in Asperen-Dunant Gardens, following a verbal altercation, Ferdinand Rey, 11, armed with a stick, struck our son Bruno Vallon in the face. This action resulted in, apart from a swelling on the upper lip, the breaking of 2 incisors, including injury to the nerve in the right incisor.
Armed?
Armed. You don't like armed? What should we say, Michelle? Furnished, equipped? Furnished with a stick. Is that all right?
Furnished, yes.
Furnished with a stick.
Absolutely. Furnished. The irony is we've always regarded Asperen-Dunant Gardens as a haven of security, unlike the Montsouris Park.
She's right. We've always said Montsouris Park. Nope. Asperen-Dunant Gardens, yes.
Absolutely. Anyway, thank you for coming. There's nothing to be gained from getting stuck down some emotional cul-de-sac.
We should be thanking you. We should.
I don't think that any thanks are necessary. Fortunately, there is still such a thing as the art of coexistence, is there not?
Which the children don't seem to have mastered, at least not ours.
Yes, not ours. What's going to happen to the tooth with the affected nerve?
We don't know yet. They're being cautious about the prognosis. Apparently the nerve hasn't been totally exposed.
Only a bit of it's been exposed.
Yes, some of it's been exposed and some of it's still covered. That's why they've decided not to kill the nerve just yet.
They're trying to give the tooth a chance.
Obviously, it would be best to avoid endodontic surgery.
Well, yes.
So there's an interim period while they give the nerve a chance to recover.
In the meantime, they'll be giving him ceramic crowns.
Whatever happens, you cannot have an implant before you're 18.
No.
Permanent implants can't be fitted until you finish growing.
Of course. I hope it all works out.
Let's hope so.
Those tulips are gorgeous.
It's that little florist in the Mouton du Venet market. You know, the one right up at the top?
Oh, yes.
They come every morning direct from Holland. €10 for a bunch of 50.
Oh, really?
You know, the one right up at the top?
Yes, yes.
You know he didn't want to identify Ferdinand.
No, he didn't.
Impressive sight, that child, face bashed in, teeth missing, still refusing to talk.
I can imagine.
He also didn't want to identify him for fear of looking like a sneak in front of his friends. We have to be honest, Veronique, it was nothing more than bravado.
Of course. But bravado is a kind of courage, isn't it?
That's right. So what I mean is, how did you find out Ferdinand's name?
Well, we explained to Bruno he wasn't helping this child by shielding him.
We said to him, if this child thinks he can go on hitting people with impunity, why should he stop?
We said to him, if we were this boy's parents, we would definitely want to be told.
Absolutely.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, Maurice. Thanks for calling back. Right. In today's Le Monde, let me read it to you. According to a paper published in The Lancet and taken up yesterday in the FT, 2 Australian researchers have revealed the neurological side effects of Antril, a hypersensitive beta blocker, manufactured at the Verens Pharma Laboratories. These side effects range from hearing loss to ataxia. So who the hell is your media watchdog? Yes, it's very bloody inconvenient. No, what's most inconvenient about it, as far as I'm concerned, is the AGMs in 2 weeks. Do you have an insurance contingency to cover litigation? Okay. Oh, and Maurice, ask your DOC to find out if this story shows up anywhere else. Call me back. Excuse me.
So, you're
a lawyer.
What about you?
Me? I have a wholesale company, household goods, and Veronique's a writer.
Ooh,
And works part-time in a history bookshop.
I contributed to a collection on the civilization of Sheba, based on the excavations that were restarted at the end of the Ethiopian-Eritrean War. And I have a book coming out in January on the Darfur tragedy.
So you specialise in Africa?
I'm very interested in that part of the world.
Do you have any other children?
Bruno has a 9-year-old sister, Camille, who's furious with her father because last night her father got rid of the hamster.
You got rid of the hamster?
Yes, that hamster made the most appalling racket all night, but then it spent the whole day fast asleep. Bruno was in a very bad way. He was driven crazy by the noise that hamster made. Well, as for me, to tell you the truth, I've been wanting to get rid of it for ages. So I said to myself, right, that's it. I took it and put it out on the street. I thought they loved drains and gutters and so on, but not a bit of it. It just sat there, paralysed on the pavement. Well, they're not domestic animals. They're not wild animals. I don't know where their natural habitat is. Dump them in the woods and they'll probably be just as unhappy. I don't know where you're meant to put them.
You left it outside?
He left it there and tried to convince Camille it had run away, but she wasn't having it.
And the hamster had vanished in the morning.
Vanished.
And you, what field are you in?
Oh, I'm in wealth management.
Is it at all possible, forgive me for putting the question so bluntly, that Ferdinand might apologise to Bruno?
It would be good if they talked.
He has to apologise, Alain. He has to tell him he's sorry.
Yes, of course.
But is he sorry?
He realises what he's done. He just doesn't understand the implications. He's 11.
If you're 11, you're not a baby anymore.
Well, you're not an adult either. We haven't offered you anything. Coffee? Tea? Is there any of that clafouti left, Ronnie? It's extraordinary clafouti.
I wouldn't mind an espresso.
Just some water.
Espresso for me too, darling. And bring the clafouti anyway. What I always say is we're a lump of potter's clay and it's up to us to fashion something out of it. But perhaps it won't take shape till the very end. Who knows? You have to taste the clafouti. Good clafouti is an endangered species.
You're right.
What is it you sell?
Domestic hardware, locks, doorknobs, soldering irons, all sorts of household goods. Saucepans, frying pans.
Money in that, is there?
Well, you know, it's never exactly been a bonanza. It was pretty hard when we started. But provided I'm out there every day pushing my product, it rubs along. At least it's not seasonal, like textiles. Although, we do sell a lot of foie gras pots in the run-up to Christmas.
I'm sure.
When you saw the hamster sitting there, paralysed, why didn't you bring it back home?
Oh, because I couldn't pick it up.
You put it on the pavement.
I took it out in its cage and sort of tipped it out. I just can't touch rodents.
I don't know who put the clafouti in the fridge. Monica puts everything in the fridge. She won't be told. What's Ferdinand said to you? Sugar?
No, thanks. What's in the clafouti?
Apples and pears.
Apples and pears.
My own little recipe. It's going to be too cold. Shame.
Apples and pears. This is a first.
Apples and pears, it's pretty textbook, but there's a trick to it.
There is?
Pears need to be cut thicker than apples because pears cook faster than apples.
Oh, of course.
But she's not telling you the real secret.
Let them try it.
It's very good. Very good.
Tasty.
Gingerbread crumbs.
Ah, brilliant.
It's a version of the way they make clafoutis in Picardy. To be honest, I've got it from his mother.
Gingerbread. Delicious. Well, at least this gives us a new recipe.
Well, I would have preferred it if it hadn't cost my son 2 teeth.
Of course. That's what I meant.
Strange way of expressing it.
Not at all. I have to take this. Yes, Maurice. No. Don't ask for right of reply. You'll only feed the controversy. Are you insured? Uh-huh. And what are these symptoms? What is ataxia? What about on a standard dose? How long have you known about this? And all that time you never recalled it. What's the turnover? Ah, yes, I see. Right.
Alan, do you mind joining us?
Yes, I'm coming. Serge, they've known about the risk for 2 years. An internal report, but it didn't formally identify any undesirable side effects. No, they took no precautions, they didn't insure, not a word about it in the annual report. Impaired motor skills, stability problems. In short, you look like you're permanently pissed. Turnover, $150 million. Blanket denial. Idiot wanted to demand a right of reply. We certainly don't want a right of reply. On the other hand, if the story spreads, we could put out a press release. Say it's disinformation put about 2 weeks before the AGM. He's going to call me back. Okay. Actually, I hardly had any lunch.
Help yourself. Help yourself.
Thanks. I'm incorrigible. What were we saying?
That it would have been nicer to have met under different circumstances.
Oh, right. So the clafoutis, is it your mother's?
The recipe is my mother's, but Ronnie makes this one.
Your mother doesn't mix pears and apples.
No.
Poor thing has to have an operation.
Oh, really? What for?
Her knee.
They're going to insert a rotable prosthesis made of metal and polythene. She's wondering what's going to be left when she's cremated.
Don't be horrible.
Oh, she refuses to be buried next to my father. She wants to be cremated and put next to her mother, who's all on her own down south. 2 urns, looking out to sea, trying to get a word in edgeways.
We're very touched by your generosity. We appreciate the fact that you're trying to calm the situation rather than exacerbate it.
Well, frankly, it's the least we can do.
Yes.
Not at all. How many parents standing up for their children become infantile themselves? If Bruno had broken 2 of Ferdinand's teeth, I'm afraid Alain and I would have been a good deal more thin-skinned about it. I'm not so sure we'd have been so broad-minded.
Of course you would.
She's right. By no means certain.
Oh, yes. But because we all know very well it might easily have been the other way round.
So what does Ferdinand have to say about it? How does he view the situation?
He's not saying much. I think he's still slightly in shock.
He understands that he's disfigured his playmate.
No, he does not understand that he's disfigured his playmate.
Why are you saying that? Ferdinand understands very well what he's done.
He understands he's behaved like a thug. He does not understand that he's disfigured his playmate.
You don't care for the word, but the word is unfortunately accurate.
My son has not disfigured your son.
Your son has disfigured my son. Come back at 5 and look at his mouth and teeth.
Temporarily disfigured.
The swelling on his lip will go down. And as for his teeth, take him to the dentist. I'm prepared to chip in.
That's what the insurance is for. What we'd like is for the boys to make up so this sort of thing never happens again.
Let's arrange a meeting.
Yes, that's the answer.
Should we be there?
They don't need to be coached. Just let them do it, man to man.
Man to man? Alan, don't be ridiculous. Having said that, we don't necessarily have to be there. It'd probably be better if we weren't, wouldn't it?
Well, the question isn't whether we should be there or not. The question is, do they want to talk to one another? Do they want to have a reckoning?
Well, Bruno wants to.
And what about Ferdinand?
But it's no use asking his opinion.
But it has to come from him.
Ferdinand behaved like a hooligan. We're not interested in what mood he's in.
If Ferdinand is forced to meet Bruno in a punitive context, I can't see the results will be very positive.
Madame, our son is a savage. To hope for any kind of spontaneous repentance would be fanciful. Right, I'm sorry. I have to get back to the office. You stay, Annette. You tell me what you've decided. I'm no use whichever way you cut it. Women always think you need a man. You need a father. As if they'd be the slightest use. Men are deadweight. They're clumsy and maladjusted. Oh, you can see a stretch of the overground metro. That's great.
I'm really embarrassed, but I can't stay either. My husband has never exactly been a pushchair father.
Oh, what a pity. It's lovely taking the baby for a walk, and it lasts such a short time. You've always enjoyed taking care of the children, haven't you, Michelle? You love pushing the pushchair.
Yes, I did.
So what have we decided?
Could you come by the house with Bruno about 7:30?
7:30? What do you think, Michelle?
Well, if I may,
Go on.
I'd rather think Ferdinand ought to come here.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think it's for the victim to go traipsing around.
That's right.
Personally, I can't be anywhere at 7:30.
So, as you're no use, we won't be needing you.
All the same, it would be better if his father were here.
All right, but it can't be this evening. Hello? No, there's no mention of this in the executive report, and no risk has been formally established. There's no evidence.
Tomorrow?
I'm in The Hague tomorrow.
You're working in The Hague?
I have a case at the International Criminal Court.
The main thing is that the children speak to one another. I'll bring Ferdinand at 7:30 and we can leave them to have their reckoning. No? You don't look very convinced.
Well, if Ferdinand is not made aware of his responsibilities, they'll just look at each other like a pair of China dogs. It'll be a catastrophe.
What do you mean, Madame? What do you mean made aware of his responsibilities?
Well, I'm sure your son is not a savage.
Of course, Ferdinand is not a savage.
Yes, he is.
Alain, this is absurd. Why say something like that?
He's a savage.
How does he explain his behaviour?
He doesn't want to discuss it.
But he ought to discuss it.
He ought to do any number of things, Madame. He ought to come here. He ought to discuss it. He ought to be sorry for it. Clearly, you have parenting skills that put us to shame. We hope to improve, but in the meantime, please bear with us.
Now, this is idiotic. Don't let's end up like this.
I'm only thinking of him. I'm only thinking of Ferdinand.
I got the message.
Let's just sit down for another couple of minutes.
Another cup of coffee?
A coffee? Okay.
Then I'll have one too. Thanks.
That's all right, Ronnie. I'll do it.
Oh, I see you're a great art lover.
Art, photographs. To some extent, it's my job.
Oh, I adore bacon.
Yes, bacon.
Cruelty, majesty.
Chaos, balance.
That's right.
Is Ferdinand interested in art?
Oh, not as much as he should be. What about your children?
Oh, we try. We try to fill the gaps in the educational system.
Yes.
We try to make them read, to take them to concerts and exhibitions. We're eccentric enough to believe in the pacifying abilities of culture.
And you're right.
The fruity. Is it a cake or a tart? Serious question. I was just thinking in the kitchen. Lanza tart, for example, is that a tart? Well, come on. Well, come on, you can't leave that one little slice.
Clafouti is a cake. The pastry's not rolled out, it's mixed in with the fruit.
You really are a cook.
I love it. The thing about cooking is you have to love it. In my view, it's the only classic tart. That's to say, on a pastry base that deserves to be called a tart.
What about you? Do you have other children?
A son from my first marriage.
I was wondering. Not that it's all important who started the quarrel. Bruno won't say a blind word about it.
Bruno refused to let Ferdinand join his gang.
Bruno has a gang?
He also called Ferdinand a grass.
Did you know Bruno had a gang?
No, fantastic.
Why is it fantastic?
Because I had my own gang.
Me too.
Oh, and what does that entail?
Oh, there are 5 or 6 kids devoted to you and ready to sacrifice themselves, like in Spartacus.
Absolutely, like in Spartacus.
And who knows about Spartacus these days?
They use a different model, as a Spider-Man.
Anyway, clearly you know more than we do. Ferdinand hasn't been as silent as you led us believe. And do you know why Bruno called him a grass? No, sorry, stupid. That's a stupid question. First of all, I couldn't care less, and also it's beside the point.
We can't get involved in children's quarrels.
And it's none of our business.
No.
On the other hand, what is our business is what unfortunately happened. Violence is always our business.
When I was leader of my gang, when I was 12, I fought Didier Leglue, who was bigger than me in single combat.
What are you talking about, Michelle? What on earth's that got to do with it?
No, you're right. It's got nothing to do with it.
We're not discussing single combat. The children weren't fighting.
I know. I suddenly had a memory.
There's not that big a difference.
Oh, yes, there is. Excuse me, monsieur. There's a very big difference.
There's a very big difference.
What?
With Didier Leglue, we had agreed to have a fight.
Did you beat the shit out of him?
Well, up to a point.
Right. Shall we forget Didier Leglue? Would you allow me to speak to Ferdinand?
By all means.
I would not want to do it without your permission.
Speak to him. What could be more natural?
Good luck.
Alain, stop it. I don't understand him.
Madame thinks...
Veronique, look, this will work better if we stop calling each other Madame and Monsieur.
Veronique, you're motivated by an educational impulse, which is very sympathetic.
Look, if you don't want me to speak to him, I won't speak to him.
No. Speak to him. Read him the Riot Act. Do what you like.
I don't understand why you don't seem to care about this.
Madame.
Veronique.
Of course I care. Veronique, enormously. My son has injured another child.
On purpose.
See, that's the kind of remark which puts my back up. Obviously on purpose.
But that makes all the difference.
The difference between what and what. That's what we're talking about. Our son picked up a stick and hit your son. That's why we're here, isn't it?
This is pointless.
Yes, she's right. This kind of argument is pointless.
Why do you feel the need to slip in on purpose? What kind of message is that supposed to be sending me?
Listen, we're on a very slippery slope. My husband is desperate about all sorts of other things. I'll come back later this evening with Ferdinand and we'll let things sort themselves out naturally.
I'm not in the least bit desperate.
Well, I am.
There's nothing to be desperate about.
Yes, there is.
Don't make any statement. No comment. Now, of course you mustn't take it off the market. If you take it off the market, you become responsible. The minute you take Antril off the market, you're admitting liability. There's nothing in the annual accounts. If you want to be sued for falsifying the executive report and given the elbow in 2 weeks' time, take it off the market.
Last year, on open day, wasn't it Ferdinand who played Monsieur de
Poissagnac.
Monsieur de Poissagnac?
We'll think about the victims later, Maurice. Let's see what the shares do after the AGM.
He was extraordinary.
Yes.
We are not going to take the medicine off the market just because 2 or 3 people are bumping into the furniture. Don't make any statements for the time being. Yes, I'll call you back.
I remember him very clearly, Monsieur de Poursignac. Do you remember him, Michel?
Yes, yeah.
He was hilarious when he was in drag.
Yes.
They're panicking. They've got the media up their arse. You have to prepare a press release. Not something defensive, not at all. On the contrary, go out all guns blazing. You insist that Veren's farmer is the victim of a destabilisation attempt 2 weeks before its annual general meeting. Where does this paper come from? Why should it have fallen out of the sky just now, etc., and so on. Don't say anything about health problems. Just ask one question. Who's behind this report? Right.
They're terrible, these pharmaceutical companies. Profit, profit, profit.
You're not supposed to be listening to my conversation.
You're not obliged to have it in front of me.
Yes, I am. I'm absolutely obliged to have it here. Not my choice, I can assure you.
They dump any old crap on you without giving it a second thought.
In the therapeutic field, every advance brings with it risk as well as benefit.
Yes, I understand that. All the same, funny job you've got.
Meaning?
Michel, this has nothing to do with us.
A funny job.
And what is it you do?
I have an ordinary job.
What is an ordinary job?
I told you I sell saucepans.
And doorknobs.
And toilet fittings. Loads of other things.
Ah, toilet fittings. Now we're talking. That's really interesting.
Allah!
It's really interesting. I'm interested in toilet fittings.
Why shouldn't you be?
How many types are there?
2 different systems. Push button or overhead flush.
I see.
Depending on the feed.
Well, yes.
Either the water comes down from above or up from under.
Yes.
I could introduce you to one of my warehouse men who specializes in this kind of thing, if you like. You'd have to leg it out to Saint Denis La Plaine.
You seem to be very much on top of the subject.
Are you intending to punish Ferdinand in any way? You can carry on with the plumbing in some more appropriate setting.
I'm not feeling well.
What's the matter?
Yes, you're very pale, sweetheart.
Palish, certainly.
I feel sick.
Sick? I have some Moxilor.
No. It'll be all right.
What could we? Oh, Coke. Coke's very good.
It'll be all right.
You could walk around a bit, take a few steps.
Really? You think so?
Yes. Small sips.
Give me Serge, will you please? Oh, right. Ask him to call me back. Ask him to call me back right away. Is it good, Coca-Cola? I thought that was supposed to be for diarrhea.
Well, not only for that. All right?
All right. All right. Veronique, if we want to reprimand our child, we'll do it in our own way, without having anybody to account to.
Absolutely.
What do you mean, absolutely, Michel?
Well, they can do whatever they like with their son. It's their prerogative.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so, Ronnie?
I don't think it's their prerogative.
Really? Explain. I'm sorry. Excellent. But don't forget, nothing's been proved. There's nothing definite. Get this straight. If anyone fucks up, Maurice is a dead man in 2 weeks, and us with him.
That's enough, Anna! That's enough now with this mobile! Will you pay attention to what's going on here?
Yes. Call me back and read it to me. What's the matter with you? Have you gone mad, shouting like that? Serge heard everything.
Good. Drives me mad, this mobile, endlessly!
Listen, Annette, I'm already doing you a big favour by being here in the first place.
Extraordinary thing to say.
I'm going to throw up.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Do you want to go to the lavatory?
No one's forcing you to stay.
No one's forcing him to stay.
I'm feeling dizzy.
Stare at a fixed point. Stare at a fixed point, Woof Woof.
Go away and leave me alone!
She would be better off in the lavatory.
Go to the lavatory. Go to the lavatory if you want to throw up.
Give us some Moxilon.
You don't suppose it could be the clafouti?
It was made yesterday.
Don't touch me!
Calm down, Woof Woof.
Please, why get worked up about nothing?
According to my husband, everything to do with the house, school, garden is my department.
No, it's not.
Yeah, yes it is, and I understand why. It's deathly all that. Deathly.
Well, if it's so deathly, then why have children in the first place?
Maybe Ferdinand senses your lack of interest.
What lack of interest?
Well, you just said...
Oh,
Go and fetch a bowl. Go and fetch a bowl.
you should have gone to the lavatory, Woof Woof. This is ridiculous.
Your suit's definitely cocked it.
Well, it's certainly not the clafouti. It couldn't possibly be.
It's not the clafouti. It's nerves. This is pure nerves.
Would you like to clean up in the bathroom? Oh no. Oh, the kokoshka. Oh my God.
Well, give her some Moxilon.
Not now. She can't keep anything down.
Where's the bathroom?
I'll show you.
It's nerves. It's a panic attack. You're a marmonette. Whether you want to be or not, I understand why you feel desperate. What I always say is you can't control the things that control you. With me, it's the cervical vertebrae. The vertebrae seize up.
Oh. What are we going to do about the kokoshka?
Well, I would spray it with Mr. Clean. The problem is how to dry it, or else you could sponge it down with a bit of perfume on it. Put a bit of perfume on it.
Perfume?
Use my Curos. I never wear it.
It'll warp.
We could run the hairdryer over it and flatten it out under a pile of other books, or iron it like they do with banknotes.
Oh my God.
I'll buy you another one.
You can't find it. It went out of print years ago.
I'm terribly sorry.
We'll salvage it. Let me do it, Ronnie.
It's a reprint of the catalogue from the 53 London exhibition. It's more than 20 years old.
Go and get the hairdryer and the Curos in the towel cupboard.
Her husband's in the bathroom.
Well, he's not stark naked, is he? That's the worst of it. The people of the tundra needs a bit of a wipe. I'll be back.
Feeling better?
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Shall I spray?
Where's the hairdryer?
He's bringing it when he's finished with it.
We'll wait for him. We'll put the Curos on last thing.
Can I use the bathroom as well?
Yes, of course.
I can't tell you how sorry I am.
Oh, what a nightmare. It's horrible.
I'll tell you what, he'd better not push me much further.
She's dreadful as well.
Not as bad.
She's a phony.
Yeah. I less irritating.
They're both dreadful. Why do you keep siding with them?
I don't keep siding with them. What are you talking about?
You keep vacillating, trying to play both ends against the middle.
Not at all.
Yes, you do. Going on about your triumphs as a gang leader, telling them they're free to do whatever they like with their son when the child is a public menace. When a child's a public menace, it's everybody's concern. I can't believe she puked all over the books.
To put some on the people of the tundra.
If you think you're about to spew, you go to the proper place.
And the fajita.
Ugh, this is disgusting.
I was pushing it a bit with the shithouse systems.
You were brilliant.
Good answers, don't you think?
Brilliant. The warehouseman was brilliant.
What an arsehole. And what do you call her?
Woof, woof.
That's right. Woof, woof.
Woof, woof.
That's right. I call her Woof Woof.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. It's so easy to make fun of other people's nicknames. What about us? What do we call each other, Michelle? Far worse, isn't it?
Were you wanting the hairdryer?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We call each other Darjeeling, like the tea. Far more ridiculous, if you ask me. Smooth them out. Smooth them out.
How's the poor thing feeling? Any better?
Better.
I reacted very badly. I am ashamed of myself.
Not at all.
I've just steamrolled her about my catalogue. I can't believe I did that.
Turn the page, stretch it out properly.
You're going to tear it.
You're right. That's enough, Michelle. It's dry. Objects can become ridiculously important half the time, and half the time you can't even remember why.
There we are. Good as new. Where does Woof Woof come from?
How much is that doggy in the window?
I know it. The one with the waggly tail.
Woof woof.
Ours comes from our honeymoon in India. Idiotic, really.
Shouldn't I go and see how she is?
Off you go, Darjeeling.
Shall I? Oh, Annette, I was worried about you. Are you feeling better?
I think so.
If you're not sure, stay away from the coffee table.
I left the towel in the bathtub. I wasn't sure where to put it.
That's perfect.
You've cleaned it all up. I'm so sorry.
Everything's great. Everything's in order.
Oh, Annette, forgive me. I've taken hardly any notice of you. I've been so obsessed with my kokoschka.
Don't worry about it.
No, the way I reacted was very bad of me.
Not at all. Something occurred to me in the bathroom.
Yes?
Perhaps we skated over it too hastily. What I mean is...
Say it. Annette, say it.
Well, an insult is a kind of injury, a kind of assault.
Of course it is.
Well, that depends, Michelle.
Yes, it depends.
I mean, Ferdinand's never shown any sign of violence. He wouldn't have done that without a reason.
He got called a grass. I'm sorry. Yes, as long as there aren't any statements from victims. We don't want any victims. I don't want you being quoted alongside victims. A blanket denial, and if necessary, attack the newspaper. They'll fax you a draft of the press release, Maurice. If anyone calls me a grass, I'm liable to get annoyed.
Unless it's true.
What did you say?
I mean, suppose it's justified.
My son is a grass.
Of course not. I was joking.
Yours is as well, if that's the way of it.
What do you mean, ours is as well?
Well, he did identify Ferdinand.
Because we insisted.
Michelle, this is completely beside the point.
What's the difference? Whether you insisted or not, he gave you the name.
Annette.
Annette, what? You think my son is a grass?
I don't think anything.
Well, if you don't think anything, then don't say anything. Stop making these insinuations.
Let's stay calm, Annette. Michelle and I are making an effort to be reasonable and moderate.
Not that moderate.
Oh, really? What do you mean?
Moderate on the surface.
I really have to go, Woof Woof.
All right, go on. Be a coward.
Annette, right now, I'm risking my most important client, so this responsible parent routine...
My son has lost 2 teeth. Two
Yes.
incisors.
Yes, I think we all got that.
One of them for good.
He'll have new ones. We'll give him new ones. Better ones. It's not like he's burst an eardrum.
We're making a mistake. not taking into account the origin of the problem.
There's no origin. There's just an 11-year-old child hitting someone with a stick.
Armed with a stick.
We withdrew that word.
You withdrew it because we objected to it.
We withdrew it without any protest.
A word deliberately designed to rule out error or clumsiness, to rule out childhood.
I'm not sure I'm able to take much more of this tone of voice.
You and I have had trouble seeing eye to eye right from the start.
There's nothing more detestable than to be attacked for something you consider a mistake. The word armed was inappropriate, so we changed it. Although if you stick to the strict definition of the word, it's far from inaccurate.
Ferdinand was insulted and he reacted. If I'm attacked, I defend myself, especially if I find myself alone, confronted by a gang.
Puking seems to have perked you up.
Are you aware of how crude that sounds?
We're people of goodwill, all four of us, I'm sure. Why let these... Excuse me, why let these irritants, these pointless aggravations push us over the edge?
Okay, Michelle, that's enough. Let's stop beating about the bush. If all we are is moderate on the surface, let's forget it, shall we?
No, I refuse to allow myself to slide down that slope.
What slope?
That deplorable slope those two little bastards have perched us on. There, I said it.
I'm not sure Ronnie has quite the same outlook.
Veronique.
Sorry.
So, Bruno's a little bastard now, is he? Poor child. That is the last straw.
Right, well, I really do have to leave you.
Me too.
Oh, go on, go. I give up.
Hello? Oh, Mum. No, we're with some friends. But tell me about it. Yes? Well, do whatever the doctor wants you to do. They're giving you Antril. Wait a minute, Mum. Wait a minute. Don't go anywhere. Antril? Your crap, isn't it? My mother's taking it.
Thousands of people take it.
You stop taking that stuff right now. Do you hear what I'm saying? Mum, immediately. Don't argue. I'll explain later. Well, tell Dr. Parolo I'm forbidding you to take it. Why luminous? So that you can be seen? Well, that's completely ridiculous. All right, we can talk about it later. Lots of love, Mum. I'll call you back. She's hired luminous crutches so she doesn't get knocked down by a truck. As if someone in her condition would be strolling down the motorway in the middle of the night. They've given her Antril for her blood pressure.
If she takes it and stays normal, I'll have her called as a witness. Didn't I have a scarf? There it is.
I do not appreciate your cynicism. My mother displays the most minor symptom. I'll be initiating a class action.
That'll happen anyway.
So I should hope.
Goodbye, madame.
Behaving well gets you nowhere. Courtesy is a waste of time. It weakens you and undermines you.
Right. Come on, Annette. Let's go. Enough preaching and sermons for today.
Go on, go. But can I just say one thing? Having met you two, it's pretty clear that for, what's his name, Ferdinand? There are mitigating circumstances.
When you murdered that hamster.
Murdered?
Yes.
I murdered the hamster?
Yes. You've done your best to make us feel guilty, but your virtue went right out of the window once you decided to be a killer.
I absolutely did not murder that hamster.
Worse, you left it shivering with terror in a hostile environment. That poor hamster is bound to have been eaten by a dog or a rat.
It's true. That is true.
What do you mean that is true?
Well, it's true. What do you expect me to say? It's appalling what must have happened to that creature.
I thought that hamster would be happy to be liberated. I thought it was going to run off down the gutter, jumping for joy.
Well, it didn't.
And you abandoned it.
I can't touch those things. For fuck's sake, Ronnie, you know that very well. I'm incapable of touching the whole species.
He has a phobia about rodents.
That's right. I'm frightened of rodents. I'm terrified of snakes. Anything closer to the ground, I have absolutely no rapport with. So that's an end of it.
And you? Why didn't you go out to look for it?
Because I had no idea what had happened. Michelle didn't tell us, me and the children, that the hamster had escaped till the following morning. I went out immediately. I walked round the block. I even walked down to the cellar.
Veronique, I find it intolerable to be in the dock all of a sudden for this hamster saga that you've seen fit to reveal. It's a personal matter, which is nobody else's business but ours, and which has nothing to do with the present situation. I find it incomprehensible to be called a killer in my own home.
What's your home got to do with it?
My home, the doors of which I have opened wide in a spirit of reconciliation to people who ought to be grateful for it.
It's wonderful the way you keep patting yourself on the back.
Don't you feel any guilt?
I feel no guilt whatsoever. I've always found that creature repulsive. I'm ecstatic that it's gone.
Michelle, that is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous? Have you gone crazy as well? Their son bashes up Bruno and I get shat on because of a hamster.
You behaved very badly with that hamster. You can't deny
Fuck
it.
the hamster.
You won't be able to say that to your daughter this evening.
Oh, bringing her on. I'm not going to let myself be told how to behave by some 9-year-old bruiser.
I'm 100% behind you there.
Pathetic.
Careful, Veronique. You be careful. I've been extremely restrained up to now, but I'm 2 inches away from crossing that line.
And what about Bruno?
What about Bruno?
Isn't he upset?
If you ask me, Bruno has other problems.
Bruno was less attached to Nibbles.
Grotesque name as well.
If you feel no guilt, why do you expect our son to feel any?
Let me tell you this. I'm up to here with these idiotic discussions. We tried to be nice. We bought tulips. My wife passed me off as a lefty. But the truth is, I can't keep this up anymore. I'm fundamentally uncouth.
Aren't we all?
No, I'm sorry. We are not fundamentally uncouth.
Well, not you, obviously.
No, not me, thank the Lord.
No, not you, Dargie. Not you. You're a fully evolved woman. You're skid resistant.
Why are you attacking me?
I'm not attacking you, quite the opposite.
Yes, you're attacking me. You know you are.
You organised this little get-together. I just let myself be recruited.
You let yourself be recruited?
Yes.
That's detestable.
Not at all. You stand up for civilization. It's completely to your credit.
Exactly. I'm standing up for civilization. And it's lucky there are people prepared to do that. You think being fundamentally uncouth is a better idea?
Come on now, come on.
Is it normal to criticise someone for not being fundamentally uncouth?
No one's saying that. No one's criticising you.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
What are we supposed to do? Sue you? Not speak to one another and try to slaughter each other with insurance claims?
Stop it, Ronnie.
Stop what?
You've got things out of proportion.
I don't give a shit. You force yourself to rise above petty-mindedness, and you finish up humiliated and completely on your own.
Yes? Let them prove it. Prove it. But if you ask me, best not to answer at all.
We're always on our own, everywhere. Who'd like a drop of rum?
Maurice, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back.
There we are. I'm living with someone who's totally negative.
Who's negative?
I am.
This is the worst idea. We should never have arranged this meeting.
I told you that.
You told me?
Yes.
You told me we didn't want to have this meeting.
I didn't think it was a good idea.
It was a good idea.
Oh, please. Anybody?
You told me it wasn't a good idea, Michelle.
I think so.
You think so?
I wouldn't mind a little drop.
Didn't you have to go?
I could manage a small glass, now we've got this far.
You look me in the eye and tell me we weren't in complete agreement about this.
Calm down, Veronique, calm down. This is pointless.
Who stopped anyone touching the clafouti this morning? Who said, let's keep the rest of the clafouti for the Ray? Who said it?
That was nice.
What's that got to do with it?
What do you mean, what's that got to do with it?
Well, if you invite people here, you invite people.
You're a liar. You're a liar. He's a liar.
You know, speaking personally, my wife had to drag me here. When you're brought up with a kind of John Wayne-ish idea of virility, you don't want to settle this kind of problem with a lot of yakking.
I thought your model was Spartacus.
Same family.
Analogous.
Analogous? Oh, are there no lengths you won't go to humiliate yourself, Michelle?
Obviously, it was pointless dragging you here.
What were you hoping for, Woof Woof? It's true, it's a ludicrous nickname. Were you hoping for a glimpse of universal harmony? This rum is terrific.
Isn't it? Cœur de chauffe. 15 years old, direct from Santa Rosa.
And the tulips. Whose idea was that? I said, it's a shame the tulips are finished. I didn't say rush down to Mouton Duvenet at the crack of dawn.
Don't work yourself up into this state, Veronique. It's crazy.
The tulips were his idea. Entirely his idea. Aren't we allowed a drink?
Yes, Veronique. And I would like one too. By the way, it's quite amusing. Someone descended from Spartacus and John Wayne who can't even pick up a mouse.
Will you shut up about that hamster?
You're right, it's laughable.
What about her?
I don't think she needs any.
Give me a drink, Michelle.
No.
Michelle?
What's the matter with you, Michelle?
All right, there you are. Take it. Drink. Who cares?
Is alcohol bad for you?
It's wonderful.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Now listen, monsieur.
Alain,
We're not exactly soulmates, you and me. But you see, I live with a man who's decided, once and for all, that life is second rate. It's very difficult living with a man who comforts himself with that thought, who doesn't want anything to change, who can't work up any enthusiasm about anything.
He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck about any of that.
You have to believe in the possibility of improvement, don't you?
He's the last person you should be telling all of this.
I'll talk to who I like, for fuck's sake.
Oh, who the fuck's that now? Yes, Mum. He's fine. I say he's fine. He's lost his teeth, but he's fine. Yes, he's in pain. He's in pain. But it'll pass, Mum. Look, I'm busy. I'll call you back.
you still in pain?
No,
Then why worry your mother?
he can't help himself. He always has to worry her.
Right, that's enough, Veronique. What is this psychodrama?
Veronique, are we ever interested in anything but ourselves? Of course, we'd all like to believe in the possibility of improvement, of which we could be the architect, and which would be in no way self-serving. Does such a thing exist? Some people drag their feet. It's their strategy. Others refuse to acknowledge the passing of time and drive themselves demented. What difference does it make? People struggle until they're dead. Education, the miseries of the world. You're writing a book about Darfur. Fine. I can understand you saying to yourself, right, I'm going to choose a massacre. What else does history consist of? And I'm going to write about it. You do what you can to save the world, to save yourself even.
I'm not writing the book to save myself. You haven't read it. You don't even know what it's about.
It makes no difference.
Terrible stink of churros.
Ghastly.
You certainly laid it on.
I'm sorry.
Not your fault. I was the one spraying like a lunatic. Anyway, why can't we take things more lightly? Why does everything have to be so exhausting?
You think too much. Women think too much.
There's an original remark. I bet that's thrown you for a loop.
Think too much. I don't even know what that means. And I don't see the point of existence without some kind of moral conception of the world.
See what I have to live with?
Oh, shut up. Will you shut up?
Oh, come
I
on.
detest this pathetic complicity. You disgust me.
Have a sense of humour.
I don't have a sense of humour, and I have no intention of acquiring one.
What I always say is marriage. What I always say is marriage. The most terrible ordeal God can inflict on you.
Great.
Marriage and children.
There's no call for you to share your views with us, Michelle. As a matter of fact, I find it slightly indecent.
That's not going to worry him.
You mean you don't agree?
These observations are irrelevant, and I'll say something.
He's entitled to his opinions?
Yes, but he doesn't have to broadcast them.
Well, yes, perhaps, but...
We don't give a damn about their marriage. We're here to settle a problem to do with our children. We don't give a damn about their marriage.
Yes, but...
But what? What do you mean?
There's a connection.
There's a connection. Of course there's a connection.
There's a connection between Bruno having his teeth broken and our marriage.
Well, obviously.
We're not with you.
Children consume and fracture our lives. Children drag us towards disaster. It's unavoidable. When you see those laughing couples casting off into the sea of matrimony, you say to yourself, they have no idea, poor things. They just have no idea. They're happy. No one tells you anything when you start out. I have an old school pal who's just about to have a child with his new girlfriend. I said to him, a child at our age, are you insane? The 10 or dozen good years left to us before we get cancer or a stroke, and you're going to bugger yourself up with some brat.
You don't really believe what you're saying.
It does.
Of course I believe it. Worse even.
Yes.
You're demeaning yourself, Michelle.
Is that right?
Oh, stop crying, Veronique. You can see it only encourages him.
Help yourself. Help yourself. Exceptional, isn't it?
Exceptional.
Could I offer you a cigar?
No, no cigars.
Pity.
You're not proposing to smoke a cigar, Alain.
I shall do what I like, Annette. If I feel like accepting a cigar, I shall accept a cigar. If I'm not smoking, it's because I don't want to upset Veronique, who's already completely lost it. She's right. Stop snivelling when a woman cries, a man is immediately provoked to the worst excesses. Added to it, Michelle's point of view is, I'm sorry to say, completely sound. Yes, Serge, go ahead. Put Paris, the date, and the exact time.
This is hideous.
Whatever time you send it, it has to look piping hot straight out of the oven. No, not we're surprised. We condemn. We condemn. Surprise is feeble.
This goes on from morning to night. From morning to night, he is glued to that mobile. That mobile makes mincemeat of our lives.
Just a minute. Annette, this is very important.
This is always very important. Anything happens anywhere else, somewhere else, is always more important.
Go ahead. Yes, not procedure, manoeuvre. A manoeuvre timed for 2 weeks before the annual accounts, etc.
In the street, at dinner, he doesn't care where.
A paper in inverted commas. Put the word paper in inverted commas.
I'm not saying another word. Total surrender. I want to be sick again.
Where's the basin?
I don't know.
You just have to quote me. This is simply a disgraceful attempt to manipulate share prices.
Here it is. Go on, off you go.
Ronnie.
Everything's all right. We're fully equipped.
Share prices and to undermine my client, confirms Maître, counsel for the Verens Pharma Company. AP, Reuters, General Press, Specialised Press, Uncle Tom Cobley and all.
She wants to grow up again.
What's the matter with you?
I'm touched by your concern.
It's upsetting me.
Oh, I am sorry. I must have misunderstood.
Oh, Annette, please. Don't let us start now. Just because they're quarrelling, just because their marriage is fucked, doesn't mean we have to compete.
What right do you have to say that our marriage is fucked? Who gave you permission?
They just read it to me. We're sending it to you, Maurice. Manipulation. Manipulate share prices. It's on its way. Wasn't me who said it, it was Francois.
Michelle.
Michelle. Sorry.
I forbid you to stand in any kind of judgment over our relationship.
Then don't stand in judgment over my son.
That's got nothing to do with it. Your son injured ours.
They're young. They're kids. Kids have always given each other a good drubbing around break. It's a law of life.
No, it isn't.
Of course it is. You have to go through a kind of apprenticeship before violence gives way to what's right. Originally, let me remind you, might was right.
Possibly in prehistoric times. Not in our society.
Our society? Explain a society.
Oh, you're exhausting me. These conversations are exhausting.
You see, Veronique, I believe in the God of Carnage. He has ruled uninterruptedly since the dawn of time. You're interested in Africa, aren't you? Feeling bad?
Don't worry about me.
I am worried.
Everything is fine.
As a matter of fact, I just came back from the Congo. Over there, little boys are taught to kill when they're 8 years old. During their childhood, they kill hundreds of people. With a machete, with a 12.7, with a Kalashnikov, with a grenade launcher. So you'll understand when my son picks up a bamboo rod and hits his playmate and breaks a tooth even too. In Aspirant-Dunant Gardens. I'm likely to be less disposed than you to horror and indignation.
Or you're wrong.
12.7.
Yes, that's what they're called.
Are you all right?
Perfectly.
What's the matter with you? What's the matter with her?
Oh, it's just bile. It's nothing.
And don't lecture me about Africa. I know all about Africa's martyrdom. I've been steeped in it for months.
I don't doubt it. Anyway, the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has opened an inquiry in Darfur.
Oh, you don't think I don't know about that?
Don't get her started on that, for God's sake.
Oh!
Oh!
You know what? I'm starting to like you.
Well, I don't like you.
She's a supporter of peace and stability in the world.
Oh, shut up.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Yes, it'll do me good.
We're living in France. We're not living in Kinshasa. We're living in France according to the principles of Western society. What goes on in Aspirant-Dunant Gardens reflects the values of Western society, of which, if it's all the same to you, I'm happy to be a member.
Beating up your husband is one of those principles, is it?
Michelle, this is going to end badly.
She threw herself on you in such a frenzy. If I were you, I'd be rather touched.
And I'll do it again in a minute.
He's making fun of you. You do realise.
I don't give a shit.
I'm not making fun. On the contrary, morality decrees we should control our impulses. But sometimes it's good not to control them. You don't want to be singing Ave Maria when you're fucking. Where can you find this rum?
That vintage? I doubt you can.
12.7.
12.7. You're right.
That's right, 12.7.
How do you just say gun?
Because 12.7 is correct. You don't just say gun.
Who's this you?
That's enough, Annette. That's enough.
The great warriors like my husband. You have to give them some leeway. They have trouble working up an interest in local events.
It's true.
I don't see why. We are citizens of the world. I don't see why we should give up the struggle just because it's on our doorstep.
Oh, Ronnie, do stop shoving those thoughts for the day down our throats.
I'm going to kill him.
Yes. All right. Take out regrettable. Crude. A crude attempt to... That's it.
Oh, she's right. This is becoming unbearable.
Otherwise, he approves the rest? Fine. Fine. Very good. What were we saying? 12.7 millimeter?
I was saying, whether my husband likes it or not, that no one place is more important than another when it comes to exercising vigilance.
Vigilance. Well, Annette, it's ridiculous to drink the state you're in.
What state? On the contrary.
Vigilance, it's an interesting idea. Yes, no interviews before the circulation of the press release.
That's it. I insist you break off this horrendous conversation.
Absolutely not. The shareholders won't give a fuck. Remind them, the shareholder is king. Annette! What the...
So there!
Well done!
Oh my God!
Are you completely insane? Fuck!
The hairdryer. Where's the hairdryer?
You need locking up, poor love. This is incomprehensible. I had everything in there. It's brand new. It took me hours to set up.
Really? I don't understand you. That was completely irresponsible.
Everything's on there. My whole life.
Whole life!
Hang on, we might be able to fix it.
No chance. It's fucked.
We'll take out the battery and the SIM card. Can you open it?
I haven't got a clue. I only just got it.
Let's have a look.
It's fucked. And they think it's funny. They think it's funny.
There we go. You, Veronique, you at least can have the manners not to laugh.
My husband would have spent his entire afternoon blow drying.
Leave it, mate. Leave it. There's nothing to be done.
We'll have to wait a minute. Do you want to use off then? I have to say, I absolutely have to say that is crazy.
Yes, what do you have to say, Michelle?
No, I really can't think what to say.
Well, if you ask me, everyone's feeling fine. If you ask me, everyone's feeling better. Everyone's much calmer, don't you think? But are so wedded to their gadgets, it belittles them. It takes away all their authority. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me. Even an attaché case is enough to put me off. There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag, a man's shoulder bag. Although there's nothing worse than a mobile phone. A man ought to give the impression that he's alone. Well, if you ask me, I mean, that he's capable of being alone. You know what I mean? I also have this kind of John Wayne-ish idea of virility, and what was it he had? A Colt .45. Yes, a device for creating a vacuum. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michelle, are you happy? It is somewhat fractured, our little, what was it you said? I forgot the word, but in the end, everyone's feeling more or less all right, if you ask me.
I should probably warn you. Rum drives you crazy.
I've never felt more normal.
Right.
I'm starting to feel rather pleasantly serene.
That's wonderful. Rather pleasantly serene.
As for you, Darjeeling, I failed to see what's to be gained by getting publicly pissed.
Oh, get stuffed.
Choose one, Alain. Relax.
Cigars are not smoked in this house.
Those are Hoyo. Those are Monte Cristos, number 3 and number 4.
You don't smoke in a house with an asthmatic child.
Who's asthmatic?
Our son.
Didn't stop you buying a fucking hamster.
It's true. If somebody has asthma, keeping an animal isn't recommended.
Totally unrecommended.
Even a goldfish can cause, serious counterproductive.
Do I have to listen to this fatuous nonsense? I'm sorry. No doubt I'm not the only one of us not feeling rather pleasantly serene. In fact, I've never been so unhappy. I think this is the unhappiest day of my life.
Drinking always makes you unhappy.
Oh, Michelle, every word that's coming out of your mouth is destroying me. I don't drink. I drank a mouthful of this shitty rum you're waving around as if you're showing the congregation the Turin Shroud. I don't drink and I bitterly regret it. It'd be a relief to be able to take a refuge in a little drop at every minor setback.
My husband's unhappy as well. Look at him, slumped. He looks as if someone's left him by the side of the road. I think it's the unhappiest day of his life too.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Will you turn off the hairdryer? That thing is buggered.
Yes. Mum, I told you we were busy. Because it could kill you. That medication is poison. Someone's going to explain it to you. Tell her.
Tell her what?
Everything you know about that crap you're peddling.
How are you, madame?
What can he tell her? He doesn't know the first thing about it.
Yes. And does it hurt? Of course. Well, the operation will fix that. And the other leg. I see. No, I'm not an orthopedist. She keeps calling me doctor.
Doctor, this is grotesque. Hang up.
But I mean to say, you're not having any problems with your balance? Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Don't listen to any of that. All the same, it'd probably be just as well to stop taking it for the moment. Until you've had a chance to get quietly through your operation. Yes, you sound as if you're on very good form.
All right, Mum. Is that clear? Stop taking the medication. Why do you always have to argue? Stop taking it. Do what you're told. I'll call you back. Yes, lots of love. Love from us all. Oh, she's killing me. One pain in the arse after another.
Right then. What have we decided? Shall I come back this evening with Ferdinand? No one seems to give a toss anymore. All the same, I should point out that is what we're here for.
Now I'm starting to feel sick. Where's the bowl?
That'll do.
To my mind, there are wrongs on both sides. Yeah, that's it. Wrongs on both sides.
Are you serious?
What?
Are you aware of what you're saying?
I am, yes.
So our son, Bruno, to whom I was obliged to give 2 extra strength Nurofen last night, is in the wrong?
He's not necessarily innocent.
Oh, fuck off. I've had enough of you.
My handbag! Hello!
What's going on? They've slipped their trolley.
Oh. Help!
Oh, Anna, help!
Oh, shut up! She's broken my compact! Am I atomizer? Defend me! Why aren't you defending me?
We're going.
It's not as if I'm strangling her.
What have I done to you?
There are not wrongs on both sides. Don't mix up the victims with the executioners.
Executioners!
You're so full of shit, Veronique. All this simplistic claptrap. We're up to here with it.
I stand by everything I've said.
Yes, yes, you stand by what you said. You stand by what you've said. Your infatuation for a bunch of Sudanese is bleeding into everything now.
I'm appalled. Why are you choosing to show yourself in this horrible light?
Because I feel like it. I feel like showing myself in a horrible light.
Well, one day you may understand the extremity of what's going on in the part of the world, and you'll be ashamed of this inertia and your repulsive nihilism.
You're just wonderful, Darjeeling. You're the best of us all.
I am. Yes.
Let's get out of here, Alain. These people are monsters.
Stop it, Annette. Stop it.
No, I want to drink some more. I want to get pissed out of my head. This bitch throws my handbag across the room and no one bats an eyelid. I want to get drunk.
You already are.
Why are you letting them call my son an executioner? You come to their house to settle things and you get insulted and bullied and lectured on how to be a good citizen of the planet. Our son did well to clout yours. I wipe my arse with your Charter of Human Rights.
A mouthful of grog and bam, the real face appears.
I told you, didn't I tell you?
What did you tell him?
That she was a phony. This woman is a phony. I'm sorry.
When did you tell him?
When you were in the bathroom.
You'd known her for 15 minutes, but you could tell she was a phony.
It's the kind of thing I pick up on right away.
No, it's true.
I have an instinct for that kind of thing.
And phony, what does that mean?
I don't want to hear anymore. Why are you putting me through this, Alain?
Calm down, woof woof.
She's someone who tries to round off corners. Full stop. She's all front. She doesn't care any more than you do.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true? Why are you saying it's true?
They don't give a fuck. They haven't given a fuck since the start. It's obvious. Her too. You're right.
And you do, I suppose. Let me say something, love. Explain to me in what way you care, Michelle. What does the word mean in the first place? You're far more authentic when you're showing yourself in a horrible light. To tell the truth, no one in this room cares, except for Veronique, whose integrity, it must be said, has to be acknowledged.
Don't acknowledge me. Don't acknowledge me.
I care. I absolutely care.
We only care about our own feelings, Annette. We're not social crusaders. I saw your friend Jane Fonda on TV the other day. I was inches away from buying a Ku Klux Klan poster.
What do you mean, my friend? What's Jane Fonda got to do with all this?
You're the same breed. You're the part of the same category of woman. Committed, problem-solving. That's not what we like about women. What we like about women is sensuality, wildness, hormones. Women who make a song and dance about their intuition, women who are custodians of the world, depress us. Even him, poor Michel, your husband, he's depressed.
Don't you speak for me.
Who gives a flying fuck what you like about women? Where does this lecture come from? A man like you. Who could begin to give a fuck for your opinion?
She's yelling. She's a regimental sergeant major.
And what about her? Doesn't she yell when she said that little bastard had done well to clout our son?
Yes, he did do well. At least he's not a snivelling little puff.
Well, yours is the grass. Is that any better?
Alain, let's go. What are we doing? Staying in this dump? There. That's what I think of your pathetic flowers, your hideous tulips. It's the worst day of my life as well.
Is this yours?
Yes. Thank you.
Not broken?
No.
What I always say is, leave it.
No.
Yes, darling. Oh, good. Will you be able to do your homework at Annabelle's? No, no, darling, we haven't found her. Yes, I went all the way to the supermarket. But you know, my love, Nibbles is very resourceful. I think you should have faith in her. You think she was happy in a cage? Daddy's very sad. No, he didn't mean to upset you. Of course you will. Yes, of course you'll speak to him again. Listen, darling, we're worried enough already about your brother, and oh, she'll eat. She'll eat leaves, acorns, conkers. She'll find things. You know what food she needs. Worms, snails, stuff that drops out of rubbish bins. She's like us. She's omnivorous. But okay, see you soon, sweetheart.
Well, I dare say that creature's stuffing its face as we speak.
No.
What do we know?